Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is written by me, Catherine Alwan, in 2014. It is noble to be an orphan. Belief in God to fulfill our Iman will ultimately be summarized in knowing or revelation of what we should be responsible for. Most boundaries in social interaction and the community are based on knowledge about taking responsibility. Responsibility is working in a specific way. It is working only forward in time, cannot go backwards. Therefore, you cannot be held responsible for the past time that you were not involved in. Though heritage and ancestry is held dear to people, the largest portion of it is your imagination at work. You do not have a stake in your ancestry, but your ancestry has a stake in you. Ancestry is the notion that people get feelings of pride or shame from. This must be a version of egotism to do this kind of thought. None of one's deeds are going to change the past nor add to the past. We are adding to the future, always in the direction forward. The innocence of children and the worthiness of orphans has been safeguarded by Allah. Though they are inclined to accept the inheritances, they do not collect the deeds of the past into themselves. The pride of the people in their ancestors should be made of goodwill, and not an attempt to deposit in themselves a feeling of superiority. Yet many people have thoughts about the history and the forefathers, claiming ownership of this history as if it were a part of themselves. It is a simple illusion. While they may wish love towards the people who contributed in the history of their bloodline, this earth is a station that prevents them from going back in time and doing deeds in the direction of the past. Orphans who feel disowned and unwanted are left with the sense that there is nothing to inherit. It is an illusion that they might possess worthiness based on what is before their time. Only the loneliness of the orphan, enduring in the present time, deprived of a mother or father. It is the deeds of this time that count. They should not count themselves towards the past, so it is okay and noble to be an orphan. Whoever brings a good deed, he shall have 10 like it, and whoever brings an evil deed, he shall be recompensed only with the like of it, and they shall not be dealt with unjustly. Surely Allah does not do injustice to the weight of an atom, and if it is a good deed, He multiplies it and gives from Himself a great reward. Allah has written down the good deeds and the bad ones. Then He explained it by saying that he who has intended a good deed and has not done it, Allah writes it down with Himself as a full good deed, but if he has intended it and has done it, Allah writes it down with Himself as from 10 good deeds to 700 times, or many times over. But if he has intended a bad deed and has not done it, Allah writes it down with Himself as a full good deed. But if he has intended it and has done it, Allah writes it down as one bad deed. A man said, "By Allah, Allah will not forgive so-and-so." At this, Allah the Almighty said, "Who is he who swears by me that I will not forgive so-and-so? Verily, I have forgiven so-and-so, and I have nullified your deeds." And no example of similitude do they bring, but we reveal to you the truth and the better explanation thereof. And each we put forward examples, and each we brought to utter ruin. Have you seen him who has taken his ilah, his own vain desire? Who would you then be a wakil over him? Or do you think most of them hear or understand? They are only like cattle. Nay, they are even farther astray from the path. Have you not seen how your Lord spread the shadow? If he willed, he could have made it still, but we have made the sun its guide. Then we withdraw it to us, a gradual concealed withdrawal. And is he who makes the night covering for you, and the sleep a repose, and makes the day nushur, and it is he who sends the winds as heralds of glad tidings, going before his mercy, and we send down pure water from the sky, that we may give life thereby to a dead land, and we give to drink thereof many of the cattle and men that we had created. And indeed we have distributed it amongst them, in order that they may remember, but most men accept nothing but disbelief and ingratitude. And had we willed, we would have raised a warner in every town. So obey not the disbelievers, but strive against them with the utmost endeavor with it. Allahu Akbar. And this paper is written in 2014, and it was written for Syria. I was in 2014, again, the Islamic State had a great territory, and the Islamic fronts had come under attack. So the first army was the Free Syrian Army, and when the Syrian men began to take refuge in other armies that were connected to the religion of Islam, then it became very dangerous then for all of the Syrian men as they tried to take refuge in these Islamic armies. The next army was the Army of Islam, led by Zahran Alush. And this army, it was the biggest name. And slowly after this time, one by one, the leaders of the armies in this under this army, those leaders, they were heroes of the revolution. They were the first men who were the revolutionaries, the strongest revolutionaries. And one by one, the leaders were killed after this time. So as you looked around and you thought, well, I don't have a weapon, but I wanted to help. And you look around and you say, what could I say? What could I possibly say? And these are the journals here of what I chose to say. This is part 1. It's noble to be an orphan. Allahu Akbar.